Hi, my name is Audrey, and Morgan, Katie, and I researched the group WASPs, or Women Air Force Service Pilots. They were a group of women who were United States Federal Civil Service employees. WASPs were trained pilots who tested aircrafts and trained other pilots. Gail Beaton, the author of the article Women Air Force Service Pilots, writes about how the group WASPs came to be. The group was formed when the U.S. government sponsored the Civilian Pilot Training Program, or CPT, in the late 1930s. Flight schools were struggling and needed advertisements to persuade young boys and girls to join up and fly. As World War II became closer, women were no longer allowed to be a part of this group. The spots were reserved for men. Then the group Women Flyers of America, or WFA, was created, allowing women to keep flying. Jacqueline Cochran was a respected American woman pilot and business executive. She was leader of the group WASP. Cochran was one of the first to say, quote, female pilots could fly domestic, non-combat assignments to release more male pilots for combat duty, end quote. This was a turning point, and more women wanted to join and to be trained.
The Wasps were an incredible help during World War II. According to camps, the ferry pilots usually would fly around 50 different types of aircrafts. The ferry pilots were the most common category of pilot that the Wasps had, but there were also navigation pilots, target tug pilots, and glider tow pilots. On top of that, some other aircrafts the Wasps flew were cargo planes. Also, in a century of air and space power, Congress forbid the women from flying anywhere outside of the continental United States. Their entrance requirements were much more difficult than the men's, so it was very challenging to be accepted into the WASPs.
According to Ann Dar, former member of the WASP, in her New York Times article published in 1995, quote, from 1942 to 1944, the Army Air Forces trained 1,830 WASPs, called from 25,000 applicants. Only 1,074 earned their wings, end quote. It was believed that the 1970s was the first time women were being taught to fly military planes. This is untrue according to Ann Dar. The WASPs were flying every kind of Army Air Force plane. The Wasps flew a total of 60 million miles in those 3 years, from small primary trainers to the B-29 Super Fortresses. Historian Deanne Campbell wrote in the Journal of American History, published in 1993, that the United States took a very different approach in terms of women's efforts during World War II. Great Britain, the Soviet Union, and Germany all used women in their batteries as well as in combat. The United States is the only country who did not do the same. Even though experiments have been done on women's ability to participate in the war, the results prove that women were just as efficient, if not more efficient, as their male counterparts. The US is also the only country who did not give the women who aided in the war, like the WASPs, any sort of recognition until years after the war. Ann Dar furthermore mentions how it was not until 30 years later, in 1977, that Congress finally publicly admitted that the WASPs helped the Allies during World War II. Now fast forward 32 years to July 1st, 2009, Staff Sergeant Buzanowski wrote in the WASPs awarded Congressional Gold Medal article that former President Barack Obama awarded the WASPs with the Congressional Gold Medal for service, saying that, quote, every American should be grateful for their service, and I am honored to sign this bill to finally give them some of the hard-earned recognition they deserve, end quote. The WASPs were an exceptional group of driven women who were able to serve in the military in ways that were just as effective and beneficial as men. These women are a group of service members that the United States should be extremely proud of. We have the WASPs to thank for paving the way for future female pilots in the United States.